You're listening to the Chinook Sports Podcast with your hosts, Nathan Bannerman and Robert Greer.
Number 47 for Boston. Well, guys, 5 minutes each for fighting.
So I was watching basketball Pornhub yesterday. It's so cheesy. I love it.
Well, after 3 times, I think we got that started. I think we started recording. So, how's everything going with you in Calgary today, Nathan?
Oh, pretty good. How about you out in nowhere, Saskatchewan?
Not bad, actually.
That's good.
So yeah, this is the Flames year-end review video. This is going to be quite interesting, seeing how this all goes and how, I don't know, how this test is. It's going to be on audio only as well, so. But, yeah, this is going to be fun. Looks like you're all decked out. Yeah, no kidding. Looks like you're all decked out in your San Francisco 49ers gear.
I'm ready. Flames are done. I moved on.
Yeah, not really hockey related. I was actually hoping you'd kind of show up in a suit and tie and.
Yeah, see, I'm very ambitious when it's not 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I hear you. I was thinking
So-
top up or, from your waist up, you could have been like, in it, but whatever.
I had plans of it, and then, didn't.
and you didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to actually buy one of those T-shirts that has like the printed on suit, so
No.
just to kind of class up the joint, but I don't know. Can't even see it. My Orlando Hard Rock shirt. So let's just jump right into it. So yeah, my computer's acting slow. So if this is horrible, blame me. We got Matthew Tkachuk, left wing, played a whole whopping 69 games. I guess that's pretty much what the season was, anyways. Finished off with 23 goals, 38 assists, 61 points, and the leader in penalty minutes at 74.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the guy plays over. He probably got most of those in the third Battle of Alberta. After he ran over Cassian in Calgary, then I think he picked up all those, probably at least half of those penalty minutes when everyone retaliated a couple rounds later.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense on that one. I would definitely assume that one too. To me, he's the future leader of the Flames. So I can't really see him being traded in the off season or anything like that. I can't see any talk of that in the general manager's meetings or anything like that. So
no, and he just signed a new deal, so I think he's with the Flames until at least end of 2023, I believe.
Yeah, there's 2 years
Or
remaining on his
2022.
contract. Yeah, there's 2 years remaining on his contract, and at the end of it, he'll be a restricted free agent. So there's plenty of time for him in the Flames uniform.
Yeah, I think Flames obviously keep him and re-sign him to a nice big deal either after his contract is up or the season prior.
Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely agree with that one. Ratings wise, this year, what would you give him? to me, he's a solid A for his price.
A for sure.
And even his locker room leadership. Like, we've seen what happened in the playoffs when he went down and how the team basically just melted.
Yeah. Yeah, I give him an A for sure.
Oh. Next we have everybody's favorite whipping boy, Mr. Johnny Hockey. Played 70 games with 18 goals, 40 assists, 58 points, and 12 penalty minutes. To me, his goal production kind of went down this year as far as I'm concerned. I know it wasn't a full 82-game season, but he's normally north of 20, dipping into the 30s for his goals, like goals per season.
Yeah, usually his goals are up, but I think the thing I like to see is that 40 assists. I know he played a lot with Elias Lindholm.
Yeah.
And Lindholm, 29 goals. Pretty sure probably all 29 were assisted by Johnny Gaudreau. So I'm not concerned really in the goal area because his assists, like, he is getting points.
Right.
And I think a lot of fans don't see that because obviously you only really remember who scored the goal, right? Like, the only assist that I think everyone really remembers is Joe McGinley's overtime goal in the Olympics, and then maybe like whoever assisted on what was his name, Paul Anderson, from like the Canada versus Soviets back in the day. Like,
right.
You don't really remember who assisted any other time. So
no.
I think that's where Johnny gets a lot of, hate. I'll call it hate. I'll just straight up. It's a lot of hate. But
yeah, and he did have a couple of decent games in the playoffs this year too. I would love to see him be more consistent in the playoffs. It really seems like he disappears when the game gets physical. And in the playoffs, it's way more physical than in the regular season. So, like, even his goals there, a lot of them are flashy. It's not like front of the net working, front of the net, the dirty goals type thing. It's, a lot of flashy dancing around people. And yeah, so I don't know. I'd just like to see more consistency come out of him when the games get tough.
Yeah, I think he did that in Game 6. I mean, everyone's saying, well, where's Johnny Gaudreau? Well, he did score.
Yeah.
He scored a nice goal. And then he had tons of chances, the wraparound chances, everything around the net. Like, he was there. I actually thought Game 6 was his best game all around.
Yeah.
Even take away the goal. Like, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
Just nothing was going in for the Flames after those first 3 goals.
Yeah.
Nothing happened after that. But
exactly.
it's not like it's not like he just went to sleep after.
No.
He was there. I think he was trying to be physical, but Dallas was just way too big.
Yeah. For me, his name does get brought up a lot in trade talks. And I am on the bandwagon of trading him. Like, he's got 2 years remaining. At the end of it, he will be an unrestricted free agent, costing the team $6.75 million. It's a fair deal as far as I'm concerned. But I really don't want to see him or see even the team wait until he's a UFA, like that year. I think if you, to me, trade him sooner the better. You'll get more in return for him if that's what the team's looking at and if that's what he's wanting. For grade wise, I give him an A for the regular season, an A for Game 6, and probably a solid B for the rest.
Yeah, I'll give him an A minus, just because his goals went down a little bit. But I do think it's just because he was with Lindholm quite a bit.
Right.
I think everyone expected Gaudreau to be, maybe close to a 50-goal scorer. I don't know if the Flames will really see that again, because you look at the top 5 players, Backlund, Monahan, Lindholm, Gaudreau, Tkachuk. Only Lindholm was close to 30. So they spread out a lot of the goal wealth, and 40 assists. Gaudreau clearly had something to do with that. So give him A minus. If he had 20 goals, he'd get an A.
Wow, Nathan being a little bit harsh. Are you grading on the curve or something, or what?
Yep.
Okay, good. Next up is Elias Lindholm. 70 games, 29 goals, which led the team. 25 assists, 54 points. And we have him signed for another 4 years. And at $4.85 million, the more I look at his contract, it's a steal of a deal.
Oh yeah. The Flames stole that trade from Carolina. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. There's no question about that. That's probably the best trade that they've ever made. In a lot of ways. I like Lindholm. He's a perfect fit for the top line. He can take draws. He is a natural centerman. And he seems to really pair up well with Gaudreau and Monahan.
Yeah, see, so this is where you don't trade Gaudreau yet.
Yeah, depends on what you get in return.
That's true. But if you're going to keep Lindholm, you got to keep Gaudreau, I feel. At least for now.
Right.
Lindholm clearly produced really well this year.
Yeah.
I don't really remember his playoff performance, so that might be something.
Yeah, the entire top line, as we kind of alluded to, just where were they? Game 6.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. Yeah, I give Lindholm a solid A as well. I really seem to be like a
3
homer
straight.
right now. I know, right?
3 straight A's. My goodness.
Yeah, I know. I'm a homer. Whatever. What can you say about that?
I'm going to give Lindholm an A+.
Oh, wow.
Just thought he was everywhere this season.
Yeah.
Probably could have had 40 goals if he had another 12 games under his belt. Obviously, the qualifiers stats count for playoff statistics. So, but yeah, definitely could have been a 30, 40 goal scorer if he just had those extra games. So, A+.
Okay. I guess next we'll round up the top line with Sean Monahan. The picture I've got right now, he's got quite a flow going on with his hair. He played 70 games.
Was it the quarantine hair?
I don't know. I really don't know. So yeah, Monahan played 70 games, 22 assists, or 22 goals, 26 assists, 48 points, and he led that line with 25 penalty minutes. Yeah, he's another one. He's a good fit. Still have 3 years on his contract at $6.38 million. The thing that worries me is his hip surgery. How long, on my vitals, he's 24, which I believe he might be 25 right now, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know, being 24, having dual hip replacement surgeries is kind of worrisome for me, but he's still producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is Monahan that number one center that team is looking for, or even that number two center this team's looking for? Especially with the surgeries. Was he a great fit with Goudreau and Tkachuk or even Lindholm if they make that,
Yeah.
Great kid, plays really well.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if there was too much pressure on him to perform, that maybe he just kind of buckled a little bit, especially in the playoffs. I mean, I know the Flames top line always fades away in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think, Monahan had a lot of pressure. He did show up a lot this year physically. Had that fight with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Probably the most random fight you would ever, I never would have thought those two would have gone at it, but
yeah,
it was nice to see Monahan kind of step up for Tkachuk and his teammates. And
yeah, definitely a couple of heavyweights going at it, right?
But yeah, I don't know if he's I don't think he's top center right now. I hope he proves everyone wrong next year. But send him to the second line, third line. I wouldn't fourth line him yet. He's way too valuable
Well,
to be a fourth liner, but
he was
third.
Well, he was fourth on the team with points.
Mm-hmm.
And he was third on the team with goals. So yeah. I'm not sure if he's, the first line center material. Stats wise, it kind of does appear that way.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's definitely a second line center material as far as I'm concerned. First line is still kind of questionable, but how many teams are looking for that number one center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have a McDavid or Crosby, pretty much every team's looking for one.
How much did that hurt that you had to admit Crosby's a top player?
It didn't hurt. I'm not afraid to admit it. I just, if he was in Buffalo, I'd actually like him.
Okay. Monahan, I'll give him a B plus. I'll do B plus.
Yeah.
Just would have liked to have seen a little bit more consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I give him a B plus for sure. Next on the list is Michael Backlund. Played 70 games, scored 16 goals, 29 assists, which equals 45 points, and had 26 penalty minutes. To me, he's kind of seemed to be, found his groove coming into his own. Really turned into a solid second line center as far as I'm concerned. And we still have him for 4 years at $5.35 million, which I think is a decent deal for a second line center. So
Yeah, Backlund was a surprise of the year. I think everyone knew he could do really well, just given the right, line mates and just how bad he wanted to play. Right, a lot of this is on the individuals.
Yeah.
You can only use the coach excuse for so long before the players themselves have to be accountable. And I think Backlund took that and took it personal. Clearly produced quite a bit. I think in the playoffs he was actually pretty noticeable and was always around the puck and around the net. So Backlund definitely a steal, with that contract. But could he still be a valuable trade piece though as well?
Yeah, with his well, I don't know. It depends if he wants to get traded or not. He's got a no trade clause.
If a team's looking for depth down the middle, like in Edmonton, who kind of needs something besides McDavid and Draisaitl. I'm not saying Calgary's going to make a trade there. That's rarely going to happen.
Calgary needs, the depth up the middle too, right?
Yeah.
So is he more valuable?
Have it a little bit.
So is he more valuable as a trade bait, or is he more valuable to the team?
Yes. Both. He's valuable to the team, but he's also valuable as trade bait because the Flames do have a little bit of depth coming up with Dubé.
Yeah.
If Ben can be playoff in the regular season, then that completely changes the dynamic of this team.
Yeah.
And then you can afford to maybe send Backlund somewhere to pick up some size maybe.
Well, you know what? With the 4 years remaining at 5.35, I'd almost wonder if, would you want to switch Backlund to the top line, put Monahan on the second line, see how that works out, and possibly use Monahan and as the trade bait, right? He is younger.
Mm-hmm. True.
For me, like this year, I definitely give Backlund an A for for everything that he's done. Like he's even in the playoffs, I think he had a decent playoff too.
Yeah, I'll go with A for Backlund as well.
Yeah. Next we have our first restricted free agent on the list, Andrew Mangiapane. He played 68 games, 17 goals, 15 assists, finished off with 32 points and 18 penalty minutes. As I said, he's going into restricted free agency and he was making $715,000 per year. He's going to get a pay raise.
Absolutely. I think the Flames got to do whatever they can to make sure he stays in Calgary because I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in his services. So I think there's going to be, if they don't sign him like before restricted free agency kind of begins, when teams are able to send offer sheets.
Yeah.
I think they got to sign him pretty quick because I don't know if they can match what some teams are going to be willing to offer him. And he's young too, eh?
Yeah, he's
early 20s, I think.
Yeah, 23. He's a couple of years older than Matt. Yeah, he's a couple of years older than Matthew. And 1 year younger than Lindholm and Monahan. So yeah, no, he's fairly young. He definitely deserves, I'd probably say mid threes minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Where exactly was he playing? Like, was he on the second line? I really can't remember.
I think he bounced around between second and third.
So for him,
might have played on the fourth a bit.
So for his point production, like, that's quite incredible, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he was seeing third and fourth line minutes as well.
Yeah, I definitely think you got to keep him as best as you can.
Yeah.
Flames don't really have a lot of cap space, but make a trade.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think the cap is going up a little bit next year, so that might be a little bit of wiggle room but I don't think that they really want to hit the ceiling either. So,
especially with a lot of good free agents potentially. Taylor Hall is going to be out there.
Yeah, stay far away from that. His contract, his points that he got throughout the season, another solid A for me. He really was.
Yeah, I'll give him an A+.
Okay. Up next is our first defenseman, the captain, Mark Giordano. I've heard a lot, like, he was another whipping boy along with Johnny, especially in the playoffs. Point-wise, regular season, he played 60 games. That tells me he was injured at some point. 5 goals, 26 assists, 31 points, sorry. He's got 2 years left on his contract at $6.75 million, but he also has a no trade clause. And I believe he's also the oldest person on the team as well. So this one is hard for me. He is a top defensive pairing guy. But he has started looking slower this year, especially in the playoffs. He took quite a few dumb penalties as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, 2 years on his contract, 6.75, no trade clause. To me, I think, this is a guy that if he's willing to move, you may want to look at moving him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's it's unfortunate because last year won the Norris Trophy. Said he felt young and fresh, and then this year was not young and fresh.
No,
Seems like whatever happened in the off season, whatever happened during quarantine, just he fizzled off a little bit, or quite a bit. I don't know. My issue is, well, not an issue, but they trade him. You're trading a community guy, guy who's him and his family did a lot for Calgary during quarantine, during the times when everyone was losing jobs. Like, they were out buying laptops, groceries, anything people needed. They were in and out of Facebook groups in the city, like, just being like, oh yeah, we'll help, you know. And so if you get rid of that, if you get rid of him, you get rid of that. But unfortunately, as I've learned throughout the years, sports is a business, and you gotta separate, the heartfelt moments and the production on the ice. He's an Ontario guy, so maybe a team out east might be willing to. I mean, 6.75 is still not a lot of money for Giordano. Yeah, for a guy like him, like, he can still produce, but I mean, Calgary's his only NHL team that he's ever known. Yeah, but I think if you can get something, maybe a couple second, third, fourth round picks, something like, I don't know, like, I think it's time. It's time to move in a different direction and open that captaincy to certain number 19.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. I give him a B for performance this year. 31 points, like his assists, 26 assists. Obviously, with his expertise, he knows the game. He knows the flow of it. Yeah, I'd definitely give him a B. But I do think you're right. It might be time to kind of move on, whether it's this offseason or next offseason.
Yeah, this was his lowest point production since 2011, 2012. So
right.
Definitely, getting injured, quarantine happened, things like that. But it's unfortunate. Yeah, I think they'll give him another year at least, just to. I mean, you kind of got to do that for the most part with the team.
Yeah,
give them another chance because it was a weird season, but you did have at least 60 to 70 games to see. Those 12 games that they actually missed.
Yeah.
Weren't going to solve the playoff problems. They weren't going to solve the internal problems that this team has, right? So
yeah.
But B plus. I'll give him the plus just because his family is probably
right.
one of the nicest families. So he gets the plus there, but yeah.
All right. So next we're on to, I don't know why I keep wanting to say Bobby Ryan, but it's Derek Ryan. Another center on the team. 68 points. 68 games played. 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points, and 10 penalty minutes. He's got 1 year left at $3.13 million. Now that we're getting into the depth, I'm not really 100% sure on, some of these guys playing, where they, like what lines they were playing on and that. So I'm just kind of going by their stats wise. Who did we get this guy from?
I'm pretty sure Carolina.
Was that part of the Carolina deal? I thought he was in Buffalo at one point. I could be wrong, but regardless.
Yeah, just looking at his year, it looks like Carolina and Calgary are the only NHL teams he's played for. Yeah, Derek Ryan, I'm pretty sure went to U of A. So went that route.
Right.
I think he's going to be a valuable trade asset, especially because he can be a depth guy.
Yeah.
So depending on where the Flames want to go with this, I think he can. Does he have 1 year after this, or was this his last?
He's got 1 year left.
So okay, yeah, I think he can be like a draft day trade.
Okay, yeah, I give him a B minus. Like his stats wise weren't that bad as far as I'm concerned, and for just over $3 million.
Yeah, but last year though, in 81 games, he had 38 points.
Right.
Playoff wise, like he's not there.
Okay, all right.
He's not there in the playoffs. He is, from last year's playoffs and this year's playoffs, he has 3 points.
Right.
In 15 games. That's where like the guys like Brian Burke and all those experts talk about the depth in the postseason.
Yeah.
It's guys like Derek Ryan who have to show up, and unfortunately, they didn't.
Right.
So I could see him as a trade piece. Appreciate all he's done, but
Yeah.
get a couple mid-rounders for him.
All right. So, yeah, I really don't know much about him, so I can't really speak on him too much. Next, we have Noah Hannafin. Played 70 games, 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points, and 12 penalty minutes. We have him for another 4 years at $4.95 million. Yeah, he's, definitely top 4 D pairing, especially on the Flames. I could possibly see him, depending on, I guess, if Giordano moves, he could be in the top pairing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, Hannafin was part of that Carolina deal with Lindholm.
Yeah.
They sent Furland and Hamilton over. Yeah. You got to keep this kid. He's literally a kid, 23 years old.
Yeah.
Has shown that he can play really well. Even in the playoffs, 4 assists in the 10 games that Calgary played this year.
Yeah.
Much better player than some of the guys
Yeah.
on that defensive pairing. Yeah, I think they keep him. I'll give him an A. Yeah, you can't get rid of a guy like this.
Yeah, no, I definitely give him an A as well. Next, we're Rasmus Anderson. He had the exact same stats points-wise, but, 57 penalty minutes, which probably came in, the Battle of Alberta. He signed for another 6 years at 4.55. This is another guy that I could see, depending on moves, he could be on the top line, like the top D pairing as well. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we could have Hannafin and Anderson both on the top line for the D pairing.
Yeah, I really liked how Anderson played this year. Was always noticeable in the best ways. Wasn't really too much of a turnover machine, unlike a couple other defensemen who we'll eventually talk about down the line.
Right.
But yeah, he's super cheap.
Yeah.
His cap hit's only $755,000. Steal, complete steal. 23 years old. Yeah, this kid's going to be with us for a while. I can see them slapping on a alternate captain on his jersey.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, he's, as you said, he's a kid too. Like, him and Hannafin, like, 4 years with Hannafin, 6 years with Anderson. Like, these two are going to be with us for a while. And I really do like what I've seen with them.
I'd give him an A.
Yeah.
I think it's the first A on the defense. So.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't you give Hannafin an A as well?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I did.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Hannafin gets an A. Anderson gets an A.
Everybody gets an A.
Oprah. Yeah, I feel like Oprah here. Everyone gets an A.
Yeah, no, I to round things out with Anderson, I remember when he first came up to the Calgary organization, like from the minor leagues, and I was really impressed with his play. Didn't know much about him. Sweden, he's a Swedish boy, and he's really opened my eyes, and I really do like his style of play for sure. And I like how he sticks up for everybody too. So next guy talking about sticking out for people. My favorite Vancouver Giant, my second favorite Boston Bruin, Milan Lucic. We have him for another 3 years. He does have a no move clause. I could really see the Flames not protecting him in the expansion draft if he's willing to go. But I've always liked this guy. Like, you know, he played 68 games, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points, and 54 penalty minutes. And to me, this is the guy that we need in the organization. And this is another trade I think we stole too. So
I'll definitely agree on we won that trade with Edmonton for sure.
yeah.
Real deal. James Neal was absolute garbage for Calgary. Didn't even want to be in Calgary. Only signed because Calgary offered him a length of a contract that he wanted, whereas Vegas only wanted him 4 years and he wanted a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
And Calgary was willing to do that. And then he just, definitely won that trade. However, I'm okay if Lucic goes.
Yeah, like, you know, like I said, to me, he's a big body. This is probably going to be the first B that I'll give him. And I do love how he's there. He's the physical type of guy. When he's on the ice, people's heads are on a swivel. And I really do think that the Flames really missed that. I know we were talked about how they needed to get bigger. And this guy, to me, fits that mold.
I think in my view of getting bigger, the Flames need bigger as in like a Kachuk.
Right.
A guy who's extremely skilled, plays bigger than he actually is.
Yeah.
I know a lot of games, guys like Goudreau, Monahan were like kind of getting slashed, kind of picked on, bullied around, and everyone was looking at Lucic going, where are you?
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of times he was just on the bench. And I mean, that's not his fault for just being on the bench. But like, you know what I mean? Like there was no retaliation. There was no real sticking up for his teammates in a sense. Now, I don't know if that's because he wanted to change his play a little bit, rather than just be that guy that goes around hitting people. I mean, 54 penalty minutes is the lowest he's had since his first year in Vancouver,
right,
when he had 2 penalty minutes, 1 game played, but 2 penalty minutes. That's the absolute lowest he's ever had. Since then. So I think he changed his game quite a bit when he came here. Could have been, coaching, saying, "Hey, we don't need you to be that guy that just goes around and racks up penalty minutes." However, I think he could have been better. Still was fun to have, like to say the Flames had a guy like Milan Lucic, who everyone hated in Boston, or you love to hate him. But I don't know. I was hoping for more. I think the Flames would have been a different team if he played how he did in Boston and Edmonton. But I'm okay if they don't keep him. But definitely won that trade.
I do like the length of his contract. I just don't like the price of it. And I can't remember if the Oilers are eating some of it, but 5.25 to me is still a little bit much for him. Maybe shave off another mil. Mm-hmm. That's kind of why I'm kind of going a little bit lower. Giving him a B. So
I'll give him a C+.
Okay. Man,
First,
you're harsh.
first C plus.
You're harsh. I'm going to hate to see what you grade this next guy. TJ Brody. Whipping boy for probably the past 2-3 years, as far as I'm concerned. Played 60.
Pretty much his whole time in Calgary.
Played 64 games. Had 4 goals, 15 assists, 19 points, 36 penalty minutes. He's only 30 years old, but he is an unrestricted free agent going into this offseason. And he was making $4.65 million. I like his pairing with Giordano because if Brody's a stay-at-home defenseman, it kind of gives Giordano kind of a little bit more offensive, lets Giordano jump in on the offense a little bit more than, another guy that's offensively minded defenseman. And I do think that Brody and Giordano did work well together a couple of seasons back when Giordano did light it up. But I don't know. I don't see him back with the Flames. I really don't.
Yeah, Brody had that on ice incident during practice when he, I think it was a seizure or something.
Right.
Was rushed to hospital, and so he did have that, which obviously is not his fault.
No,
but
of course not.
Took away games.
Well, he played 4 more games than Giordano.
Yeah. I remember him in last year's playoffs, and not in a good way. He just kept turning the puck over.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I understand why fans don't mind seeing him go.
Yeah.
Again, one of the guys that you have to take away the heartfelt stuff.
Yeah.
and separate that, because I think he's well liked in the community.
Yeah.
Has the Skate for Strides program. But I think they gotta at least allow him to explore the market.
Right.
Because teams are going to be willing to pay probably around the same deal, if not more. And he could probably go to at least the true contender.
Yeah.
Or he could, go to LA, pair with Drew Doughty.
Well, he's another, he's another Ontario boy, right? Maybe Toronto might be on Toronto's radar. Don't have to give up anything.
Yeah. Toronto's going to need something, because Jake Muzzin got hurt in the bubble, and we don't know. I personally don't know the status of him. I'm sure he'll be back next year, but
right.
It's got to be a concern for Toronto.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
Brody. I'll give Brody a B.
A B.
A B. I'll give TJ Brody a B.
Oh wow. I
just think when he did play, could have been better.
Yeah.
But yeah, a B.
Yeah, I was going to give him a C.
Oh, okay.
You're. I when I thought you were harsh, jeez, I don't know. Next we have Dylan Dubé. This guy I'm really looking forward to, his future with the organization. Played 45 games, 6 assists, 10 assists, 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points, 6 penalty minutes. He's got 1 year left on his entry-level contract at 7,000 or 778. So 700,078. Yeah, whatever. still a steal of a deal. And I'm sure they're going to give him an extension probably within the next year. I guarantee it.
Absolutely, especially if you're going to lose a guy like Johnny Gaudreau eventually.
Yeah.
You got to have someone that can easily replace him.
Yeah.
And Dylan Dubé is exactly that guy. Dubé, real noticeable in the playoffs. Personally, he had 4 goals, 5 points in the 10 games, including the qualifiers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kid's going to be phenomenal. I think he plays bigger than he is, and that's what the Flames need. Just play tons of skill. Obviously still young, so still has to get used to bigger guys.
Yeah.
You know, who are just going to easily like cross check you and you're off the puck and they're going the other way. But once he kind of gets that physicality under his belt a little more, he's going to be a stud and he's going to be a steal. Because I think the Flames would probably give him like maybe $3 million, maybe 4 on his new contract.
Yeah.
Because they want to keep him. Like you're gonna overpay a little bit for this guy. But definitely is going to be a steal when he hits 30 goals in the next 2 years.
Yeah, no, 100%.
A for Dubé.
An A for Dubé. Yeah, I'll give him a B.
All right.
He's still has a little bit of improving to go, but as you said, he's young. Now I'm a little bit. There we go. Next is Sam Bennett. This will be fairly interesting on what you think of him. 52 games played, 8 goals, 4 assists, 12 points, 36 penalty minutes, 1 year remaining before he's a restricted free agent, $2.55 million. So his contract and his points wise, they're not bad, but to me, for being like a first round pick, he's a letdown.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Do you want to explain a little bit why you think he's a letdown?
I just don't think he's played up to his potential. I really don't. As I was actually really high on the kid when he was drafted, thinking he would be like the 1 or 2, center that we would need. But right now, I really think he's maybe he's playing more than likely on the third line center, and he quite possibly could be a fourth line center. And I think that's his potential. And for being a first round pick, it's, to me, that's not good.
Yeah, so I'll agree that he hasn't lived up to his first round. What was it, 6th overall?
Yeah.
Or 6th overall selection. But he changes it in the playoffs. And I think that's where he's earned his money. As, everyone says playoff Bennett. I mean, his beard this playoffs was phenomenal. The play matched it.
Yeah. Yeah, the picture I've got up right now
points.
has his porn stash on.
8 points in 10 games. I'm pretty sure he led the team in goals and points in the playoffs. It could definitely be a better regular season guy.
Yeah.
But at least he steps up when the games matter the most. And I think that's going to be what gets him.
Well, that entire
nice chunk of change.
Well, that entire third line stepped up. Didn't Lucic have 5 points in 5 games?
Yeah, I said he was, worth. Basically said he was worth keeping around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just for his playoffs, I do think he is worth keeping around. And he is that depth guy that a lot of people, especially Calgary, would still be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I give him a B minus.
B minus, and you think I'm tough? I'm giving the kid an A minus.
An A minus. All right. Just for his
A
playoffs.
minus.
Just for his playoffs.
Yeah, playoff gets him the A. The minus is for the regular season.
Right. Okay. Next up is Travis Hamonic. There we go. He's a restricted free agent. He was making $3.86 million. Played 50 games, 3 goals, 9 assists, with 12 points and 27 penalty minutes.
I'm okay if he goes.
Yeah, me too.
I know he sat out the bubble for family reasons.
Yeah.
Totally fine. But yeah, I think he's played his last game as a Flame. I don't know why they would want to keep him.
Yeah, me neither. Other than just being a defenseman that we probably do need. But at $3.86 million, I think with Hannafin and Anderson, he is kind of replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
I'll give him a C.
Yeah,
I'll give him a C for his time in Calgary.
Yeah, I'm with you on the C too. Next up, we have another unrestricted free agent, Tobias Ryder. 55 games played, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, 6 penalty minutes. Unrestricted free agent at $700,000. I don't know if we can get him for about the same price. I wouldn't mind seeing him stick. He's another depth guy on the team.
Yeah, definitely a fourth liner. I think he had every shorthanded goal in the playoffs for Calgary. I think he had like 4 or 5 shorthanded goals.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see him back in maybe a little bit bigger role.
Yeah.
But I think teams will give him more money than Calgary would offer. But yeah, I would like to see him stick around for another year. I won't give him 2 years, but another year. See what he can do in a full season.
All right.
But I'll give him a B. Give him a B.
A B? Yeah, I'll give him a C as well. Next is Mark Jankowski. I don't know why I have him as a unrestricted free agent, but he's actually a restricted free agent. $1.68 million, played 56 games, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points, 14 penalty minutes. As a fourth line center, to me, I think he's replaceable.
Okay.
He's another, I know we selected him late in the first round, but at $1.68 million, I really do think he might be replaceable. I would have liked to see him in the minors a little bit more. And I don't think he's going to be like a massively huge point getter.
Interesting. All right. I'll play devil's advocate then. I actually liked Jankowski. think we drafted him under Jay Feaster.
Yeah.
And he was like a high schooler still.
Yeah.
And everyone, even myself, was just like, what are you doing? Like, there's clearly guys who are ready for the NHL.
Yeah.
But Feaster knew something at the time we all didn't know. And
Yeah.
Jankowski can. I would like to see him get more playing time, though. Throw him up on maybe the third line. Pair him with, like, I know that it says he's a center, but usually centers can be pretty flexible. So
Yeah.
throw him on a wing or, with like maybe a Backlund or like a Mangiapane kind of deal.
Right.
And just see what he can do. I think he can be. I mean, sign him for cheap. Like, don't give him $3 or $4 million. Maybe give him $2,
right?
Maybe $2 million if he wants a pay raise. But
yeah,
don't overpay for him. But yeah, I would like to see more of him just on a different line. I think he can probably produce more than the 7 points he did.
Yeah,
given a chance to actually play.
Yeah, to me, I'd give him another C.
Yeah, I'll agree with the C rating. But I think his ceiling is higher. But for the year, yeah, a C.
Okay. We'll move back into defenseman. He's a restricted free agent. Oliver Shillington played 48 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points, 16 penalty minutes, $731,000, and he's a restricted free agent. I like him. I as a bottom D pairing, I don't think there's anything wrong with him.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's another guy you just got to give more reps to.
Yep.
Give him a little more chance to play in the show a little bit more.
Yep.
But I like him. I'll give him a B because I just think his ceiling is going to be much higher next year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, to me, I'll give him a B minus. Next is Zach Ronaldo, another unrestricted free agent. Played 19 games, 3 assists, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, 34 penalty minutes. As an unrestricted free agent, making $700,000. I guess it all depends on if teams want to pay him more.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know much about him, to be honest with you. I'll give him a C minus.
You and your C minuses for like the depth of this organization.
I know.
Yeah, Ronaldo. I just wish he was the guy that would produce in the point department more.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy that would fit the mold of tougher yet skilled.
Yeah,
but I liked Ronaldo. Him and Lucic had matching blonde hair at one point in the season, so clearly there was like a bond with teammates. Seemed like a good locker room presence guy.
Yeah,
would stick up for anyone. So I think you got to keep him around. Don't overpay him.
So you're saying don't
around like.
So you're saying don't break up the Bash Brothers?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I'll give him a C.
Okay, awesome. Next is Austin Zarnik. He's another unrestricted free agent. Played 8 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, 0 penalty minutes at $175,000 I do like the kid. But at what point do you give up on him? He's, 26, 27 years old, still in the minors, can't really stick with the big club. But as for depth, I did have high hopes for him. Didn't we get him from that Carolina deal?
No, the Carolina deal had Adam Fox, who never signed with us.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really see him much in the minors, but as far as with the big club, I'd give him a D+.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. Last year was kind of his better season, with 18 points.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's a guy that I'm okay if the Flames move on from.
Okay. Let's move into the goaltending. I know we're going to skip over a few guys, but whatever. Just more depth players. We'll do Dave Riddick first. Played 48 games, 2.97 goals against average, 907 save percentage, 1 year left on his contract, $2.75 million. He maybe played one game or one period in the playoffs for some odd reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you can package him into a trade deal and we can get, or even if you keep him around for next year and we can get another goaltender, I'm on the fence with him. Last year, big save Dave. This year he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but can we ride on him as the number one goalie?
Interesting. I'm riding the big save Dave wave. I'm sticking with him. I think he can. I think he can be better. Obviously, I mean the whole team can be better. We didn't win the cup, so
yeah.
Clearly, the whole team can improve. But I don't know where you're gonna. Calgary just has this thing with goalies that just move on real quick. I think Jonas Hiller was kind of our last considered real starter.
Yeah.
When he was with Kari Ramo back in 2015 or whatever.
Yeah.
Since Kipper's off, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think you got to give. I think Riddick gets a new deal in the next couple of years. I mean goals against average went up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this year there's going to be a lot of goaltenders looking for new homes. Pittsburgh has a goaltending issue that they might be looking at trading Murray. I definitely place Murray ahead of him. If Fleury becomes available, you'd almost want to take a pitch at Fleury too. And, with him when you're left.
I think Robin Leonard's available too.
Very possible. So there's going to be better goaltenders than him out there that are available. I give Riddick a B+, just because I'm uncertain on whether he is that goaltender that we need for that extra push. And
all right, yeah, I'll agree with that.
And I guess Talbot is next. He is an unrestricted free agent. Played 26 games, 2.63 goals against average, 919 save percentage. And this is another guy that, do we re-sign? Like, do we look at those other goaltenders that are available, and see if they're willing to, come to Calgary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a possible trade to be had. But how long do we wait for that option? Because I think Talbot will get signed. He held us, like, my grade for Talbot is going to be an A+, just because of his playoff performance this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He showed that he's worth at least another year contract to see what he does, but if there's other better goaltenders out there, do we re-sign him?
Yeah. I definitely think he was the better of the two goalkeepers, obviously in the playoffs. Clearly I shouldn't say clearly, because Riddick only played in game 6 against Dallas, and then when he gave up like 3 goals as well, and not much you can do there.
No.
But yeah, clearly was the better goaltender once the bubble kind of came to.
Yeah.
It was his job to lose, and he really didn't lose it.
No.
It was kind of like Mike Smith last year, stood on their heads for this team, and just the team didn't play in front of them,
Yeah.
Like nothing went the way, that everyone had hoped. But, last year I thought Mike Smith deserved another chance, another contract. But I mean, I'm not, like, we're not in the locker room, so we don't know a lot. A lot of what goes on. Like, maybe Mike Smith was done. Like, maybe he said, "I stood on my head for you guys. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Talbot could be the same way next year when he's a UFA. But I think they give him a bigger role heading into next season. I think they list him as the starter.
Well, he's a UFA this summer, or I guess not this summer, but he's not signed for us next season.
Oh, no. Okay.
No.
Then I must have read the... Okay, gotcha. Oh, yeah. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. I'd say give him another chance, because, I don't know, you can't just keep rotating goaltenders.
No.
You got to have some consistency at some point. And I think you got to ride with these two, because they're going to be relatively cheaper options.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to I shouldn't say you don't want to overpay on a goaltender, because if you can get like a Fleury, a Leonard, maybe Murray in a trade situation, but
I think Murray's unrestricted free agent too. Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you on that one. So,
but I give Talbot an A.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm fully with you. Like I said, I gave him an A+ just because of his playoff performance. And I guess, let's grade the coach, Jeff Ward.
Well, hold on. We had two coaches this year. Well, yeah, we should
nope. We're not. No, sorry.
No,
no.
You don't want to.
I don't want to. I don't want to grade Bill Peters. Sorry, no, just of the stuff that happened.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that happened, but I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll give Peters for his time in Calgary, but like away from the stuff.
Yeah.
I'll give him a B. I think the team could have done better, but
see, I
I mean, he's stuck with who he's stuck with, right? Like, no coach has done well with this core.
No.
Except for maybe Hartley when they went to the second round in like 2015 or whatever.
Yeah. For me, I give Bill Peters probably A minus. Jeff Ward.
Okay. That's fair.
He was an associate coach. And yeah, like, just taking over the team in that situation, you're not really fully prepared for it. I don't think he brought in his own assistant coaches.
No.
I wouldn't mind seeing him stick with his own guys. If he can bring in his own guys, let's give him a try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coaching is like goaltending in Calgary.
Yeah,
it's a carousel,
Yeah,
a new guy every year or every 2 years. I think despite, well, I don't know. There's a couple of like actual like decent coaches out there. Gerard Gallant, who used to coach, or who was the first coach at Vegas,
yeah,
I know is out there.
yeah.
And like, I don't know, I wouldn't mind. I think he's had a phenomenal NHL coaching career, so I wouldn't mind seeing him come to Calgary but actually let him stick.
Yeah.
Don't be like, you get 3 years to create a Stanley Cup contender. Good luck, and this is your core. Like,
Yeah, no, and
like, give them 5-6 years to build something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm on the same boat as you. I don't want to see a coaching carousel happen just like the goaltending carousel happen.
Yeah.
But with the core, they've been together long enough. And if it hasn't worked with 3 different coaches, you have to kind of start looking at the core.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you want to touch base on the GM. Like, I
think it's time we move on from him. It's been 6 years.
yeah, that's true. And really, drafting wise, I guess he drafted Chuck, right?
Yeah.
Did he draft Dubé as well? Like, to me, there's a lot of leftovers from our previous GM that's on the team, right?
Yeah, I was reading somewhere on a Flames blog how Tree Living kind of has changed the Flames from the Feaster era, and he's done a great job of that. Like, he's drafted some, he's drafted restocked the draft shelf a little bit, but I don't know, it's the coaching and the goaltending that's his, that's where he gets the most money.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we pay you as much as we do, is to find a coach that's going to stick and find a goaltender that's going to perform well, because this core is, we might not agree in Calgary, like, this core is one of the best all around when you think about it.
Yeah.
You have Norris Trophy winner and Giordano. Kachuk's hated around the league in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy you want on your team, but you're going to hate him when he's not.
Yeah.
Goudreau, Dubé, skill players, Monahan. So, but you just don't have that goaltender, and you're switching coaches I think Hartley was maybe 3 years, 2 playoffs, and then missed the playoff.
I can't remember.
And that was it. They moved on to Gulutzan. Gulutzan did 2 years.
Yep.
And then they moved on to Peters.
Yep.
And then he did about a year and a half. And now we're, with Jeff Ward, like all within a span of like 3 or 6 years. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. Well, I think that
Bring back Daryl Sutter.
yeah. I don't know about that. So that kind of wraps it up for the Flames Year in Review. We'll continue on audio only for the rest. So I guess, yeah. See you on the podcast.
Bannerman's bold but stupid predictions.
So,
All right. Second round of the NHL playoffs.
yes. Yes, most definitely.
Let's go with your predictions first, because they seem normal.
They seem normal. Okay. Yeah. We'll start with the East. I'm going to go with Boston, even though they are down in the series 2-1 as we speak. And I'm just going with my heart for that one. The Philadelphia and Islanders series. This one, I could toss a coin on it. I really don't know who to pick in this. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. I'm going to go with Philadelphia.
Okay.
For some odd reason. Colorado, Dallas for the West. I'm gonna have to go with Colorado. I think they will come back in the series and take out the Stars. And to round things out between Vegas and Vancouver, I'm going to have to go with the Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see Vancouver winning the game. I don't know. I really can't see Vancouver winning many more games against the Knights. They're pretty stacked as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Give Vancouver another couple of years.
At least Vancouver's showing that, they were willing to rebuild.
Yeah.
And they just accepted it once the Sedins kind of retired and, that core moved on. Vancouver was like, okay, we'll suck for a couple years. We'll get some decent picks. We'll restock the draft cupboards, and here they are.
Well, my thing is with Vancouver, they didn't really have much of a turnaround.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. It's only been like 3 years, 2-3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they didn't have a lot of a turnaround for their rebuild. So, but I do think they're still on the uptick, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What are your predictions?
All right. Start East. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay in 6.
Okay.
I think once they got past Columbus, this is a team that, like, I hate to say that I want to see win because, like, obviously we've already seen them win.
Yeah.
Stand that. But I really like Steven Stamkos.
Right.
I've liked him his whole career,
yeah.
even, juniors as well. Good Canadian kid. But yeah, Tampa's just that team that I don't know. Like I should hate them, but it's my time in Florida that allows me to kind of ease off a little bit, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going Tampa in 6. Yeah, like you, Philly and New York is a toss up because, like, I don't think either was supposed to be in this situation.
No.
Um,
And they're so
well, yeah,
evenly
Philly was
matched.
first in the round robin that they had to play.
Yeah. Like they're so evenly matched. It's a good series.
Yeah, I'll take Philly in 7. I think they'll go the distance.
Okay.
West, man, Dallas is just. I want to say Colorado, but I don't know. Dallas is just. They're clicking.
Yeah.
They're piling up goals. You know, within 10 minutes, they're scoring about 3 or 4 goals at a time.
Right.
You know, Colorado does have fantastic group of players. Like they're all fairly young, you know.
Yeah.
Landeskog, McKinnon, who's playing out of his mind. Cale Makar is like that kid's gonna be something. Colorado's got a steal of a draft pick with Cale Makar.
Yeah.
Like his goal against Dallas the other night, or not his goal, it was actually an assist. It was Landeskog was the one that actually benefited with the goal, but McKinnon came off his blue line with a guy on him and just outrushed him to the goal and gave Landeskog a chance to score. Like if only Makar could have scored on his little rush, that would have been a highlight reel for sure.
Right.
But Dallas just scores and they keep scoring.
Yeah.
And they don't care. It's almost like easy mode on, you know, the PlayStation. Like they just keep scoring and they don't care.
Yeah, well, yeah, in Dallas, like, you know, when I was going through the show notes, like Dallas had 29 goals in the last 7 games. That's just insane. Mm-hmm. As you said, like it's easy mode on on EA Sports.
Yeah.
So,
and then the other one, Vegas, Vancouver. I'll take Vegas in 6.
Okay.
But I won't be surprised if Vancouver wins it in 6 or 7. But I'll take Vegas, so my prediction will be Vegas. But like I don't know, Vancouver's got a ton of talent. Bo Horvat, Pedersen, Virtanen even.
Yeah.
I know Canuck fans love to hate on Virtanen just because he kind of went from the WHL to the NHL and kind of had a little attitude to him.
Yeah.
You know how when you do something well, kind of thought it was a big shot, but he's played pretty well in the playoffs. Their goaltending, Jacob Markstrom's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Vancouver takes it, but I'll take Vegas.
Okay. What else? Sorry. Just trying to get my glasses on here. Yeah, an interesting turn of events in the NFL. They're actually looking at including fans in their games. I know it's going to be state by state, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea. If they can do a similar situation with what All Elite Wrestling is doing with them accepting fans at Daily Place in Jacksonville. So, like, the owners of All Elite Wrestling are the same owners as the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, I think they're probably, like, in all honesty, I think the Cons are probably testing out the waters with wrestling on how they can get fans back into the NFL games, if you know what I mean. And and by all accounts, from what I've seen and from what the fans have been saying, they've been actually doing quite, a marvelous job at it. Even though this past week was the first official week, they were letting fans in. A couple of prior weeks before that, they were letting family members and whatever else in, sponsors in. But like, they're selling tickets in pods, groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s, whatever. If you want 7 tickets, you get 7 in a row, but they're spacing them out all in the seating areas. They're giving everybody temperature checks prior to entering the facility. What else are they doing? Masks are mandatory. They're actually having people roam around and telling people on to wear your mask and on how to wear the masks. You know what I mean? So you have to cover up the nose and the mouth. So yeah, they're taking a pretty proactive approach at it. Even their concession stands, it's all, whatchamacallit? It's all contactless payment for their concessions and merchandising as well, from what I could tell. So, if they use the same model, or if they tell teams this is how they're doing it, it's working well for our other sport business. Hey, I don't see anything wrong with it. I really don't. And you can space out like 10,000 to 15,000 fans in a 60,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've heard that they're going to play around with fan noise through the speakers in some stadiums that won't allow fans yet. Right. So kind of like the baseball approach.
Yeah.
Just pump some fan noise in, and it'll be interesting though how that works. Like, is the sound guy, like when the home team's on offense, is the noise going to keep happening, or you know what I mean? Like, are they going to have different noises for different situations? 4th and 1, you want the home team, if the home team's on offense, you want like the crowd to be a little bit quieter. 4th and 1, if your home team's on defense, obviously that's when places like Seattle and Kansas City, that's where, fans really help the team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so. Or do you just press play and whatever happens, happens?
I think all you can do is like get an ambient crowd noise going in, because I'm pretty sure that there's actually rules against pumping in crowd noise when other teams have the ball. Like, if a team's caught doing that, I think it's a hefty fine. I'm pretty sure it's like that in the CFL too. So,
yeah.
Actually, I'm 100% sure there's a rule in the CFL, and with that, and I'm sure it would be the same in the NFL. It's the home team cannot pump in the crowd noise when the defense or when the visitors are on offense or whatever.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. But obviously unique circumstance this year. So
yeah. Very true. Very true.
But yeah, no, it should be fun. I'm just happy that we'll be able to watch some sort of football this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Even if it's the NFL. I seen you had a really interesting article about how Canada should start cheering for the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, that was an interesting article, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple jerseys if you need to borrow one.
To be honest with you, I may need to.
Do you want Alex Smith, Jeff Garcia, or Jimmy Garoppolo? Which one?
I'll take a Garcia one. He's a former Stampeder. But yeah, no, honestly, I don't own an NFL jersey, even though my team's the Eagles. I'm wanting to get an Alex Singleton Eagles jersey. So
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And hopefully you can sell one to me.
Hey, if we carry them, I might grab one myself.
Good.
But just for the player, not the team. This is strictly a player jersey.
Kind of like your Nugent Hopkins jersey. It's for the player, not the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. I see where you're going with this one there, Nathan. Yeah, I guess, after a couple of days, the NBA and NHL are going to be back at it today, from what everything I've heard. So,
Raptors will play tomorrow morning, I believe, like Calgary time.
Okay. Oh, what time Calgary time? 11?
I think 11 is what I've heard.
Okay. That's not bad then.
Yeah, no, it was interesting time off. Obviously, everyone knows what's happening.
Yeah.
we don't have to discuss what has happened and why they did it, but they did it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't want to get in.
And don't want to put a political stance out there.
Well,
but, it happened.
I don't really want to call it a political stance. It's not really political.
Yeah, true. I guess that was.
It is more life-changing. But yeah, I think we both can agree on this. That, even the situation, I think everybody in that situation had to have had better logic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, I don't know. Like, to me, the cop shouldn't have shot the guy in the back 7 times, as far as I'm concerned. But on the other hand, don't resist arrest, people.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just happy to have sports again.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
me
that's
too.
wrong to say in the situation, but I don't know. It just to me, I understand that things are bigger than sports.
Yeah.
But I've always loved sports as my getaway. And I understand that, they have a platform and they can use their platform. We saw that, with Kaepernick 4 years ago. Yeah. I mean, heck, we've even seen it with Dennis Rodman back when he was with the Bulls in like the 90s. Like these players, these athletes have platforms and, they're not afraid to use them. And especially now, they're not afraid to use them. And I personally think good for you. Like, I don't have a big platform to use. And, obviously writing articles, like, we're kind of told to stay away from anything. I mean, they're not saying don't have an opinion. Yeah. But they're saying make sure you have your facts right before you state something. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to look bad on yourself and on the company, right? So
and that's a really good way on, and that's a really good lesson in general, too. Like, and that's kind of why I'm not really a fan of the media these days. Ever since social media, I find that everybody's trying to get the scoop. And hey, if somebody says this on the street, that's what they're going with, not the actual evidence that comes out 2-3 days later.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
everybody's forming an opinion on, what's coming out first, not waiting around, seeing what actually is the truth and what is actually happening. So like, yeah, as you say, like, you being in the sports media, and you just really don't want to mention anything until you find out all the facts, and are really, and I have respect for those people that actually do that. So,
Well, and it goes with the whole COVID situation too, because we were told to try not to always bring up COVID.
yeah,
You can't be like, oh, well, because of COVID, teams are blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone knows it's a thing. Everyone knows it's going to impact the sport
yeah,
world in some form. It's just now finding ways around kind of saying, oh, due to COVID.
yeah,
Like, I mean, sometimes you kind of have to, like,
yeah,
if you're finishing off a topic and you're like, oh, like, due to COVID, we obviously don't know what's happening, but
yeah,
we can only hope for the best or something,
yeah,
Or, I mean, a lot of teams have had injuries because there's no preseason games. Players are starting to get injured a little bit more frequently just because the off season and the start of the season's just been so different. And you have to say COVID's played a hand in this, because it has.
100% it has. And it's going to be really interesting to see, like, with the NFL, how many injuries happen, like, early on, just because they're not playing, like, the preseason games, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like, I know for the 49ers, pretty much every player has some sort of muscle pull. Like, Nick Bosa's kind of week to week with, like, muscle strain. Our first round pick, wide receiver, he's out for a little bit, with some injuries. Like eventually, like, the team finally was like, hey, like, we're just going to do a walkthrough practice because we can't keep losing players. And it's not like they're doing anything different. It's just your training camp is now fully extended, and you can't face another team. So the guys are kind of all out all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas preseason, you can sit some guys out for a little bit, or, obviously your star players don't really play in preseason, as Winnipeg found out when they hosted preseason game.
Right. No,
the stars
exactly.
don't play if it doesn't count. So
yeah, no, 100%. And I think,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm excited to watch live sports. The replays are great, but
yeah,
it'll be nice to finally see some meaningful stuff. But knowing the situation the world is in, like I get it.
Yeah,
but
100%, we all do.
I get bored easily, I just need to watch sports.
Yeah,
that's how I breathe.
Yeah, no, I fully understand you on that aspect. So, on that note, I think we'll wrap it up. Actually, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. I've probably have to go to the emergency ward today sometime.
Oh.
So, yeah, spider bite, I believe.
Oh,
yeah, yeah, it's ugly. It's very ugly. So,
yikes!
Yeah.
Well, get that taken care of.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm going to try. I'm going to phone in right now, seeing if I can get in. So, on that note, thanks, Nathan. I'm not sure.
You.
I'm not sure how that video is going to turn out, but whatever. We'll post it.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll post it anyway.
Yeah. All right. Godspeed, and Hopefully we can do this again next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Talk to you later, bud.
See ya.
Yeah.